Well, you see yourself going full on Hollywood. This stuff does so well that they say, "Hey, we kind of mucked up the Rise of the Skywalkers. There, our bad. Do you want to write the next Star Wars trilogy? Are you on board for that?"
I would jump on that in a heartbeat, but I would have done that any time during my life, just as a fan of Star Wars. I do love working in a writer's room, and I like being on set. I think it's such a fun. I like telling stories, and I did that as a novelist because it was the thing that I could afford to do and the thing I knew how to do. But as I spend more time working on scripts and being on set, I think I would really enjoy, running a show or adapting stuff, or even just jumping in rooms or helping people with their scripts and um, uh, telling stories through film and TV. So, yeah, it's something I would definitely explore. The the thing with Hollywood, and the reason I'm jumping on any opportunity and deal as they come up, is you don't get to choose when to do this. I can choose when I want to write a novel and publish it at any time in my life. No one can stop me. And with Hollywood, it's the opposite. One of the reasons I got off the boat when I did is because we had these two TV shows that were really far along in development, and I needed to, have an internet connection and be near an airport and be able to do meetings and help push this stuff forward. And the timing wasn't what I would have chosen, but when stuff like this happens, like, you have to just give it your all and enjoy the ride. Because I have a lot of friends who've had a lot of success in Hollywood who now are having a hard time getting anything made and getting their projects pushed forward. You just don't, you never have that freedom like you do in publishing to get your story out now. It's like when the fire's hot, you got to strike, or the iron's hot.
Well, when you're in a writer's room, and I imagine when you're doing Wool, you're adapting to a series. Obviously, it's not going to be just 5 episodes. It's going to have to have more than that. You're going to have to bring in some new things. When they're looking at your characters, things that you've known, that fans have known, that have belonged, that have become larger than you when interpreted elsewhere, and then they suddenly have like a new take on Bernard. Um, is that exciting? Is that, oh my gosh, this isn't set in stone. We can change this any way we want, and now we've got something even better than what I had originally? Or is there a part of you that knows that we all love Bernard just the way he was this way? What a complex character. I can never decide for sure. Is he completely bad, or does he have some points? Because he's not 100% wrong on everything. But do you have that moment where you're like, oh, you just said a thing that I want to rewrite part of this right now, or I want to write a whole new Wool story based on the thing that my fellow writer, just said?
I totally get fired up from writers' rooms for my own writing, because you're just surrounded by creative people coming up with great ideas. More often than not, like, I'm usually in a writer's room working on my stuff. I'm pushing it away from what I wrote originally and trying to explore new things. And Graham was constantly in the room saying, like, "Hey, let's like kind of stick to the book." And supposedly it's like often the other way around, where the showrunner is like trying to take it some other way, and the author's like, stick to the book. And we had the complete opposite dynamic. With Zach, like, one of the first pitches Zach made to me, and he was like very hesitant to do so, probably because I think a lot of writers are really precious about their adaptations. From what I understand, he was like, he wanted to make a huge change. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my God, you bastard, that's like so good. Why didn't I do that in the book? I wanted to go back and rewrite the book to incorporate this plot twist that's like huge. It changes everything. I'm like, damn, that's genius. And that's the advantage, I think, of working with like really good storytellers, like I've been able to do so far, is the ideas they're coming up with. I don't want to kick them for coming up with them. I want to kick myself for not having thought of it first.
Well, you mentioned you had you're reading the galleys for Across the Sand, because you're preparing for that to be out in the world. But do you go back and will you listen to the halfway home audiobook?
I haven't listened to, I don't think, any of my audiobooks all the way through. I listened to samples to okay the narrator. And I used to listen to a lot of auditions when I was choosing the narrators myself. But I love listening to audiobooks, but I have a hard time listening to my own stuff because I kind of know it. So my brain turns off. I get a little bit bored. It's easier for me to like read a galley because I can read it really quickly. But yeah, and I listen to a lot of like nonfiction in audio, but I don't listen to a lot of fiction in audio. So it's not something that I've done with my own works.
Why would you kick back with the plagiarist and go, yeah, still a great story? Or is it, no, I'm going to focus on new stories, or I'm going to spend that time reading somebody else?
Yeah, I would rather read somebody else. I read my stuff now like only because I'm looking for mistakes as I'm proofreading or I'm doing an adaptation and I need to refamiliarize myself with stories. Because if you walk into a room where they're adapting one of your books and the last time you read it was when you wrote it like 3 or 4 years earlier, you're going to look like a fool because everyone else is like they just read it that week. It's full of sticky notes and they've got like notepads with all these ideas and thoughts and you're like, wait, remind me who that character is again. And they're like, this is your world, you created this. And that's going to be true even if you reread your work before a room. Like they're not just reading it, they're deconstructing it, they're tearing it down and trying to figure out how to tell this story. And if you're not approaching it the same way, you're going to be even as a creator of that world, you're going to be a step behind when you get into that room. So that's the main reason that I reread my stuff, and you have to reread it in a serious manner to keep up with everybody else.
Well, that makes sense. I've got a bunch of questions about stories you wrote forever ago. So we'll see how that goes.